Welcome to Mint Canvas Studio. In the last video, we talked about the importance of organization as a coach and solopreneur. Now, as promised, we'll create a system to make sense of it all. If you're a coach, mentor, or consultant, you do need a way to track your clients, sessions, and your notes without drowning in tabs, emails, or sticky notes. So today we'll build a lightweight and effective CRM in Notion using just 3 core databases. And the best part, they're linked together so everything stays connected. No coding, no plugins, just smart use of Notion's built-in features. This tutorial will teach you how to get one place to see every client's journey, a bird's eye view of all upcoming sessions and calls, automatic linking between databases, and total flexibility to edit the blocks and add more features as your business grows. Sounds fun? Let's get started. Step 1. Create your client's database. First, create a new page and name it CRM or Coaching Hub. This is going to be your dashboard. Now, the first thing we need is to create the main databases that will power the system. I like to keep all source databases in a toggle for easy access. So let's add a toggle block and call it databases. Make it bold. Then click / and type database full page. Name the new database Coaching Clients or CRM, whatever works for you. You can also assign an icon. Now, add these key properties. You can customize it later, but start with these. The name or title is already there as default, and it will be the name of the client. Now let's click on plus and add a select property and call it status. The options I suggest are lead, onboarding, active, follow-up, archived, and lost. Assign different colors to each option. Then we need the client's contact information, so let's add an email property and a phone property. Add a select or a text property for the program or type of service you offer, for example, one-on-one coaching or 90-day transformation. That will depend on your services and packages. Now I want to know when was the last time I've contacted the client so that I can schedule a follow-up. This information is especially crucial for leads in your client acquisition process. So let's add a date property and call it last contacted. Then add another date property and call it follow-up. The latter will be edited by you once you decide when you need to book a follow-up call for a prospect client. Okay, we need a couple more properties, but we'll set them up later once all the other databases are created. For the time being, this is your master list. Every person you work with, past, present, or potential, lives here. The last thing you might want to do is to add a template so every client page has a personalized icon. To add a template, click on the blue button on the top right corner of the database menu and click on the down arrow. Select New Template and choose an icon for the page. You can also rearrange the properties using the customizable layout. Once you've done with the customization, click Save and then Out. Remember to set the template as default for all views in the database. Step 2. Create your sessions database. Now go back to the first page and create a second database called Coaching Sessions and give it an icon. Add these properties. Session is the default text property. Add a property for the date and time of the session. You might also need the duration of the session, and for that you can use a select property. I've added these options as an example: 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and 2 hours. Now we need to connect these sessions to the clients, and for this purpose we will use the relation property, which can connect two databases in Notion. Let's add it and relate it to the client database. Call the relation client and make sure that the limit is set to no limit. I also want this relation to be a two-way relation, so it will appear on the client database as well, with the name Sessions. Now, let's add a checkbox to mark a session as done or complete. You can add a template to this database as well to assign an icon for each of your sessions. The last property we need is a relation property for the session notes, but we will create it once the notes database is set up. For now, go back to your client's database. You will now see a new property appear automatically called Sessions because of the relation. That means every client now shows all their sessions in one place. Step 3. Create your notes database. Add another database called Coaching Notes and give it an icon. As for the properties, we need a title, which is the default property, a relation property to connect clients to notes. So, add a relation property and relate it to the client database with a two-way relation called client and notes for the related property on the client's database. Add another relation property and this time link the session database with another two-way relation called session and notes for the related property. Now all notes are connected to their respective session and client. I think it can be useful to know the created time and the last edited date for each note, so I will add the two properties Notion has already set up. Additionally, you might want to archive some of the notes for past clients, so you can add a checkbox to mark a note as archived. Now, when you're in a session page, you can create a new note and link it directly to that session and that client. But here's where it gets powerful. Go back to your sessions database. Because you linked notes to sessions, you can now see all notes attached to each session. And because sessions are linked to clients, you can also see all notes for the same client across all their sessions. Step 4. Bring it all together with a dashboard. On your main page, we need to create this structure that will make this template work as an interactive client management system. Firstly, I want to see all upcoming notes in a calendar form. To do that, we can use a linked view of the sessions database. Click / and write linked view. Select the coaching sessions database. If you don't see it, you can look it up using the search bar here. Select a new view and choose a calendar layout. In the view name, write month. Toggle off the data source title and leave the rest of the options as is. Click on Done. As for property visibility, I want to see the duration of the session, the client, and the checkbox to mark completed sessions directly from the calendar. Let's give this block a title, and to test things out, let's add a few example sessions. You can do so by clicking on the plus button on the database. Give the page a title, a date and time, and a duration. You can link the client using the relation property, and you can also add a page to the client's database right here. Type the client's name and click on New Client in the database, coaching clients in this case. Once this session is over, you can link its notes using the corresponding relation property, just like we did for the client. As you can see, the default calendar is a monthly calendar, but if you prefer, you can create a weekly calendar as well. Let's add both to see how it works. Click on the view's name and select Duplicate. Call this view Week. Click on Layout and select Show Calendar as Week. And there you go. Your session calendars are all set up. Next, I want to see all upcoming follow-up calls, so I'll create another linked view, this time of the client's database. But first, let's give this section a title. Add a linked view, and as for the view's name, I'll hit the spacebar since I don't need a title here. For the layout, I'd like a gallery view. I don't need the source title, and I'll choose None as Card Preview. Leave the rest of the options as is. At this point, the database shows all clients. However, I need to filter this view to show only clients with upcoming follow-up dates that are not in the past. First, let's create a few additional example clients and set some follow-up dates for them. Next, I will click on the Filter option in the database menu and select Follow Up. A calendar will appear and I want to view all follow-ups scheduled for this week. Hence, I will set the filter to show follow-ups where the start date is relative to today, this week. Great! Once I apply the filter icon will turn blue, indicating that it's active. Now I can see only the names of clients I need to contact this week. However, I also want to know the specific follow-up date, so I will open the database settings, navigate to property visibility, and enable the display of the follow-up date. I can also add a time to this date. Now you have easy access to your session calendars and upcoming weekly follow-ups. To complete the dashboard, I'd like to add a few more features. Firstly, I want to display all active clients. So I will create a section with a linked view of the client database. I prefer the gallery layout for this, but feel free to choose whichever layout best suits your workflow. I also need to apply a filter to this view to show only clients whose status is active and onboarding. For the properties displayed, I would like to see the status and the program they've booked. You can rearrange the blocks however you prefer. I'd like to see the follow-ups and the active clients side by side. Let's now focus on your leads, as they typically make up a significant portion of your client list. To improve usability, I will create a toggle list to store your leads, so you can expand and close this section as needed. First, let's establish a new section with a toggle heading called Leads. Within this toggle, add a linked view of the client database and select a list layout. For the properties, include the last contact date, email, and phone number. Add a filter to this view to show only clients with a status labeled as lead. That's it. Now, all your leads are stored within this toggle. Lastly, we need a section for notes. Create a new block with the title Notes. Here, add a linked view of the Notes database and name this view by client, choosing a table layout. Disable the vertical lines for a cleaner look. To organize the notes better, group them by client. Click on Group and select Group by Client. At this point, you may want to hide the client property from this view. This way, you can see all notes linked to the corresponding client and access the relevant session. Next, add a filter to show only notes that are not archived, meaning the checkbox is unchecked. Then, duplicate this view and name it Archive. Edit the filter for this view to display notes where the checkbox is checked. With these few steps, you have created a simple yet effective note library that is easily accessible from your coaching hub. The dashboard is almost done. You just need a couple more features that will help you save time. Firstly, I'll add a few buttons to quickly add a new client session and note to their respective databases. Start by going to the top of the page and clicking / type button to create a new button. Change its icon to a plus sign and label it New Client. When this button is clicked, it should add a new page to the client database. Then we want it to open the newly added page in Centerpeak. Click Done and you've created your first button. This will allow you to add clients quickly and relate sessions, follow-ups, and personal information directly from the page. Next, let's save us some time by duplicating this button. Click Edit and change the name to New Session. Make sure to also change the target database. Since the other actions remain the same, just click Done and you're all set. Repeat this process for the notes and you'll have 3 buttons at the top of the dashboard that allow you to quickly add data to your template without having to navigate through the page or access the source databases. Now, this is the foundation of the system I created for my coach clients. That system has more layers, more components like a task planner, a coaching hub, business goals, and a module builder for course content. If you are in need of something more advanced, I left a link of this template in the description box below. But even if you don't use my template, you now have a working CRM and coaching dashboard. And that's a huge step toward a calmer, cleaner, more professional coaching practice. Did you enjoy the tutorial? If you have questions or suggestions, drop them in the comments. In the next video, we will talk about what happens after this session ends. How to give your clients a seamless, supportive experience between calls without adding more work to your plate. So stay tuned and see you in the next video. Happy planning!